What's up, everyone? Welcome back. And today we got an interesting topic, and that is when people overtly display a certain character trait. It is a very telltale sign that they are using that to hide another trait. So there's many examples of this. Let's begin with people that are very I guess you could call it hyper hyper extroverted, or they make it a point to be extra loud, right? A lot of the times you'll see this with men that walk into a room. Sometimes you go to meet these guys and they shake your hand and it's like, yo, man, like you don't need to break my hand, bro. Like, I get it. I get that you want to come off as like a strong, confident guy, but you don't need to be in this room yelling. You don't need to be throwing your weight around in this environment, because as a matter of fact, what it's revealing that you are actually an insecure person. It's revealing that you feel the need to be so loud, to be so over the top, because deep down you are suffering that superiority complex. Again, we talk about flip-flopping on this pendulum that I always talk about, right? True strength, true masculinity lies in a calm and centered state. People that are truly masculine, they are calm. They are centered within themselves. They know who they are. They know what they stand for. They know what their morals, what their values, what their principles are, right? The people that are either suffering from an inferiority complex or a superiority complex are off center. They're imbalanced. They're unstable. And so they feel the need to puff themselves up, puff their chest out, make themselves appear, keyword appear, stronger, to basically fulfill that void that they feel inside of that low self-worth. And that's one example, right? A lot of these like really like guys that try to appear super hyper masculine and super loud and over the top. I mean, essentially that's what's going on at the root of that. Now, with women, a lot of the times you will kind of see the opposite of that. These women that try to be really over the top feminine, women who engage in always, they'll always kind of try to act really extra meek. They use baby talk. They refer to themselves as being a baby. They will do all of this in order to kind of play the victim, kind of play into a man's desire to protect them, a man's desire to provide a support and be sort of a savior to them, the damsel in distress archetype, right? And what these women are really doing is they're covering up the opposite of that what they're displaying, again, that trait that they're displaying. And so beneath the victim role or the damsel in distress or the woman who's just a little girl, right, is a desire to control, a desire to manipulate, a desire to always get their way, and basically exert kind of like masculine control over people, but they do it with the opposite. So there's a lot that goes into this, and this is very deep, and it's something that you will, if you're studying people, if you're around people and you're observing their behavior, you'll begin to notice more and more. But a lot of this also ties into projection. And usually when people are extremely triggered, and it's not even usually, this is actually a fact. Like, I have seen this so many times now that, it's like I can't unsee it, how true this really is. But whenever you see somebody having a overblown emotional reaction to something that you might be like, this is weird, right? This doesn't really fit for the circumstance. So let's say that you're watching a TV show, and in the TV show, you see that there is like some sort of unfaithful behavior going on. And the person that you're with gets massively triggered by this, right? And they go into this whole tirade about how wrong this is, how awful this is. If you do this, you're an awful person. It's never justified, and how could you do this to somebody? And so you're just watching this show, and then here you are kind of like surprised, like taken aback at this emotional reaction. Well, this is what is called projection, and it is a manipulation tactic which is based on the act of them projecting this thing that they're trying to dissociate from within themselves onto other people, and pointing the blame and saying, hey, look, this is no, they're not saying hey in a calm way. They're having this guttural emotional reaction about it, right? Which is to say that this person is actually thinking these thoughts. This person is engaging this behavior. And in order to remove the blame from themselves, the inner guilt and shame that they feel about this inside, they're putting these people on blast and having this overblown emotional reaction to this thing, right? This can happen for a lot of different things. It can happen for somebody that was maybe suffered from abuse, and they see a scene on TV that could be maybe remind them of this, and that they can't watch it. They say, no, turn this off, blah, 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 right? And it can happen for a lot of different things, but pay attention. When somebody is extremely triggered by something, it's really an indication that this person they want to distance themselves, because it's reflecting something that is within themselves that they don't want to look at. So that's why it's creating this massive trigger. There are other ways that you can kind of look at this whole thing, and people really don't want to. If you take honest self-reflection and you integrate maybe some of those feelings that you have within, and you're honest with yourself, you can take a look and integrate what in Jungian psychology calls the shadow with your personality, and you can see those things and accept them. But most people don't want to look at them. Most people want to bury them beneath the surface, right? And that's when they come out in these other very, very kind of unhealthy ways, right? If you acknowledge these things as a part of your being, as a part of the human that you are, you acknowledge these darker parts of yourself, then you can have a healthy relationship with these parts of yourself and live and be an integrated person, be a whole person, and have a secure attachment style, have a secureness in yourself, secureness of being, rather than engaging and flip-flopping back and forth again on this pendulum between self-hate, inferiority complex, superiority complex, making yourself feel worse than everyone, making yourself feel better than everyone. Flip-flopping, it's very unstable and anxious, avoidant. These are all fight or flight. These are all different terms from this emotional dysregulation. And when you can assess and when you be observant of people, you're really going to start to notice this more and more. And you're really actually going to save yourself a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, by realizing this and coming into attunement with this, so that you can kind of see through people's facades, see through the false masks that people are wearing. And I'm probably going to post another video that goes into actually, really how to see through the mask that people are wearing. But this right here is just a very, very key almost foundational piece. I would say that this is one of the first things to be aware of, is these very emotional triggered reactions that people have, and their need to overtly display certain qualities about themselves. And it's a very, very telling of the opposite quality actually being there beneath the surface, in a very kind of extreme manner. Their need to go to one extreme is covering up the extreme in the other direction. So I hope that this helps. I hope this sheds some light. If you have ran into this situation or ran into people like this in your recent history, then you can kind of put and identify what's going on with these people. So with that being said, much love as always. Drop me a like, drop me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, and I would be curious to hear any of your guys' experience with this. It's fascinating to me how these kinds of things are at play all the time in psychology. But with that being said, much love. Like I said, hit me with a subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.